It is July 27th, 2023, and I am sitting at the table. I've just come from my doctor. My doctor is a young, skinny girl, kind of looks like a hippie. I don't think she graduated from college too long ago. There's a lot of young doctors around Winston-Salem. It's actually cool. The healthcare around here is a lot better than the place where I lived before, which was a rural area. Seems like in the city, I guess because there's maybe more of them, they take their time. They seem to really think about things and take their time, answer questions. Whereas in the country, it felt like they were just hurrying, trying to get you out of there because they had so backed up, so many patients. It's been a while since I updated here. I can't even remember when the last time was, and so I figured I would come on here and just talk about what's been going on in the last several weeks, couple months. The doctor was impressed this morning that I had lost about 20 pounds since May, and that's because I've been trying to be more mindful about what I eat. Been really active. Been active every day. At least typically at least, 60 to 90 minutes of physical activity every day. Most of that is walking. Found a park near where we live that I really like. It's got hills. It's a great training kind of place. It used to be a golf course, and it's a really awesome place to walk, and there's not too many people there, which I like, so I can actually take my shirt off and get some sun without horrifying bystanders with the appearance of the whale, the land whale. So that's good. Weight loss is good. She said, my blood pressure was down from where it was a couple months ago. She's going to order cholesterol blood work. A couple months ago, it was kind of high. So she's thinking, well, before we raise your statin level, let's see what happens. Because you're on a good trajectory here, you might not need to increase your medication. So, yeah, everything is good there. The only thing really that I have to report, let's see, I've been looking for jobs, and it looks like I've got a job lined up that begins on August 7th, or the training begins on August 7th, and then I start in the field on the 14th. It's a sales job. I was really trying to steer away from sales. I'm kind of tired of that, at this point in my life. I was kind of looking for something with less pressure, but it is what it is. We need money so bad right now. I mean, we need a cash infusion badly. So I have to do what I have to do. Even if I take a job I don't like, I have to. And, but I still have, I'm still applying for jobs. I mean, it's almost 2 weeks away before that thing starts. So I'm still applying for jobs. I'm still interviewing at other places. Kind of hoping to get something in human services, something in case management or something. There wouldn't be near as much money in that potentially, but it'd be more in line with kind of like what I would like to do with my final years, which is make some kind of a difference, talk to people, make some kind of a difference. I really need to get back to work soon because my family's driving me insane. There's just no other way to put it. I've been upset with my wife for years. And I'm trying to think rationally about things and not just react emotionally. But one thing I've noticed since the last time I updated, for example, I know that my energy is way higher. My energy has been really good because I've been eating right, probably because I've been eating right. And I've been doing some fasting, not quite alternate day fasting like I did before and had such good results with, but fasting 2 or 3 days a week, and it's a modified fasting, so if I'm really hungry at the end of a day, I might have 500 calories, on those fasting days. So it's a calorie restriction is what it is, and and still some intermittent fasting. Going a period of time without eating anything or anything with calories anyway. Uh, so even though like my energy level is feeling better, I'm sleeping pretty well. Um, my mind seems to be getting better. I'm able to direct it to do some tasks that need to be done, such as job applications and interviews and things like that. So it seems to be improving. What seems to really kind of be out there and not improving much is my general emotional state. I'm really emotional, and like I've had days where I just was like at the verge of tears, like all day long. And of course, I'm praying and trying to focus on God's word and trying to focus on positive things. But just feeling like this heightened sense of emotion and being just feeling like right on the edge of anger, irritable, just really irritable. Since my daughter Catherine moved back home, she's had a couple times where I just couldn't understand her reaction to something, or I was trying to clarify something and it wasn't important to anyone else. Just like that's kind of the story of my life with my family, is that my viewpoints are not really, people don't get it. They just don't understand it. They don't want to understand it. They just want you to do what they expect you to do. But I found myself really upset with my daughter a couple times. And it devolved into this like shouting match of, I'm not being unreasonable, you're being unreasonable kind of thing, just like something that's really not very helpful. I felt for years with Jessica that the thing that in our relationship that really upset me and has upset me and still upsets me is that it's always kind of felt like I existed for her, so whether the discussion has been about sex or my job. The dog's barking. Whether it's been about almost anything you could name, whether it's been about like the direction of our family, whether we move, where we live, whether the boys go to school during COVID and when the restrictions started to lift. There's been so many things. My reaction to when my fathering them, my disciplining them, my reaction to what kind of punishments they should have or what kind of rewards they should have. Like her perspective, just in this one area, tends to be like she tends to be more authoritarian than I am. Like I tend to be more, well, let the kid make up his mind, or you don't just want to say no all the time, because I know that people don't respond to that. They need boundaries, but they don't respond to it when they're in chains. And Jessica and I have always been in conflict about that. It just feels like so frustrating because it just feels like we've never been on the same page on anything. And so like when it comes to something I'm saying I want or need, I just get told no. And I'm just, and then she's like, well, you're scary, like you're angry. Yes, I'm damn angry because you're not listening to what I say. You're not regarding me in your thinking. You're only looking at me as this source of comfort for when you're crazy, or money, or whatever I can provide. And, it's just really unfair. And then when I say I need something, it's an argument. She dismisses it out of hand because she can't understand it or it doesn't make sense to her, And, I don't know. I feel like the older I get, the less I like women. And I don't know. I know I'm drawing in broad strokes because the only kind of women I've ever been around are damaged. Like they didn't grow up in stable homes. Um, People like my sister and Jessica and the coworker I fell in love with in the past, and my own mother. I mean, just the women that I have known have all been sort of crazy. I mean, sort of nuts, like in a perverse kind of way, just sort of like vampires, emotional vampires. That's the best way I can say it. Just, draining the life right out of the man in their life, criticizing him, trying to change him into some version of themselves or some ideal that's not real. It's funny because women are always saying, like the big thing in romantic comedies and books is like that women want to be loved unconditionally. But of course, they don't love unconditionally. They come with a list of demands. And, I'm getting at a point in my life where I'm looking at my family. So with my wife, it's never, I have a friend here. It's not ever felt that way. That I have a friend, I have a partner. It's always like, oh boy, I'm in trouble now. What's this person going to do now? I'm going to pay for this, and whatever it is, I just have to constantly be walking on my tiptoes. I can't talk honestly. I can't say what I need to say. I can't express myself, and because I'm always met with like this childish kind of pushback, that and now what's happening is my daughter that lives with us again and my wife are like ganging up on me now. That's how it feels. It's like they're ganging up on me now. You're the unreasonable one. You're the one that, and you know what? I'm not perfect. But I react very strongly when I'm not respected or considered. And when I think about the fact that I have never in this relationship been respected and considered, and now my children are starting to act out of that. They're starting to act like, oh, we don't have to respect dad. We don't have to do what dad tells us. We don't even have to think about what he's saying. We can just do whatever we want. Or they just argue. I mean, that's the thing. Like yesterday, my son is in driver's ed right now. And the place where he is attending classes is across town. So yesterday morning, I said to him, I was like, let's be all ready to walk out the door at 8:20. The thing starts at 9. I had to drop his brother off at a local park for summer camp. And I said, let's all be there at 8:20. Let's be ready to go at 8:20. Well, it got to be 8:25 and I was pacing around and making sure that I was ready. And he was sitting on the couch with his phone and his little brother. They were both playing some kind of a game together. And it was 8:25. I looked at the clock and I was like, what's going on here? So I said something then. I said, it's time to go. I had my shoes on, keys in hand, wallet. I was ready to walk out the door. He said, okay. And then he got up. Then it was 8:32. And he was still not out the door. And I said, I'm leaving, and if you miss your driver's academy today, that's on you, because I'm taking your brother. I told everyone up front to be ready at 8:20, and it is now 8:32, and we're not out the door. And he's like, I'm coming, 16-year-old. And then on the way, he's in driver's ed, so I was trying to explain to him, I'm his father, so I'm a teacher, And I was and I have lots of driving experience. So I was trying to tell him, you can't be late perpetually. He's always late. He's always the last one out the door. I said, I'm not going to let you drive my car or mom's car while you're trying to learn to drive if this is the way you're going to do it, because you're always going to be stressed out in traffic, because you're always trying to get somewhere, because you're waiting till the last possible second. You're going to be late for things. And I went through the list. I was like, what about an employer? What about a class, a professor, or something that you need to be at, or something like that? You have to be places on time. And for some people in our society, it is really important, and it's really almost like a slight if you aren't there. So I was trying to explain this stuff to him, and he just argued with me the whole way. Oh, well, we're going to be there on time, Dad. I don't understand what you're so uptight about. Why can't I just live my life? Because, dumbass, I'm the one driving you. And I'm the one who's responsible for getting you there, And just all this argument. And then the last thing he said when I dropped him off was, because we did get there about 5 minutes early. Last thing he said was, he's like, see all that drama and we got here on time, or something to that effect. It just pissed me off. And then last night, his brother was getting ready to do the dishes, his little brother. And we have a dishwasher, so I asked the older boy, I was like, can you empty the dishes and take the trash out and put the food from dinner, the leftovers, away? I gave him those tasks to do. And he didn't do it. He went to the gym. And he had cut his hand like right here on a trash can or something while he was riding his bike. And it had an open gash. It didn't look deep, but it was a gash. And I said to him, you've got to cover that and keep it clean. And then he wanted to argue about it. He wanted to argue, why do I have to do that? Why can't I just let scab over? Honestly, I'm so frustrated that I feel like I am dealing with people that are at a first or second grade level of understanding of the world. And I'm like, and that includes sometimes my spouse. And I'm like, and they're mad at me. It's me they're upset with. And what else can I do? I told Jessica last night, I was like, this is so frustrating for me. I'm just trying to talk to people. I have no respect or honor in this house. And I'm just trying to teach people. I'm doing as much as I can for these people. I'm toting them places. I'm taking them to work. I'm picking them up at work. I'm constantly for the last month or so, I'm looking for work myself. I'm busy each day. And working on my health and with good results. So, all this stuff I'm doing without any of their input or help, without any real assistance in the ways that I asked for help. And I just feel unappreciated. One of the jobs I'm considering right now requires travel. And I'm like, that sounds like heaven. Extract me from these people, these rude, insensitive people that want to never listen to what I have to say, that want to argue every point with me. And I'm mad at Jessica because I know our kids learn that, have seen that from her. Now I'm sure they've learned things from me too, but I can only think back on my own past. My dad was violent and scary. Like, there is no way that I would talk to my father the way that my children feel comfortable talking to me. I mean, they think they're equals of mine, that we're peers. And it makes me very angry. And Jessica acts upset because I'm angry, like I shouldn't be angry. And I tried to explain to her this morning, it's like, there's nothing good here. There's no sweetness. There's no joy in this. These people are just draining me. Like, I'm not getting anything out of these relationships. I don't know how many, I'm 47, my blood pressure's up and down, almost 48. So I ordered some Viagra several months ago just to make sure that things were not unpredictable. Let's put it that way. And I think I've wasted more of them than I've used, because I take one and then someone says some dumb shit or acts crazy or doesn't come to bed or, lays awake crying about how mean I am or whatever. It's just like, so as a man, there's no delighting myself in the wife of my youth. There's no excitement there. That's always been her domain. That's always been something that she was in charge of, and I didn't have much say in, because of her past and her trauma. And then you've got demands. So the demand is, wow, look at the bank account, it's dwindling. How are we going to pay rent? How are we going to buy food and all that stuff? So my focus is on the demands. There's no sense of like something to look forward to, like a sense of joy about something to look forward to. And even when we do things, like even I a lot of times will invite the family into something that I want to do or that I'm interested in. And a lot of that stuff is being outside. Hey, let's go for a walk, or let's let's explore downtown, or let's go to this job fair together. It's a Saturday. There might be something to do. Let's go check it out. And there's never any sense of appreciation. That was cool. I enjoyed spending time with you, Dad, or Steve. It's just always like it's never enough to satisfy the sense of dissatisfaction that everyone else has because I'm either their husband or their dad. And I'm tired of it. I'm just absolutely sick of feeling that way. I don't understand how I know I'm an adult child of an alcoholic, but how did I get into this codependent mess? I mean, what's the payoff for me? Like I used to talk about this with Jessica, and she would always say, well, someday our relationship will be this or that, and never in the concept of right now and reality right now, And so I just feel unheard, unregarded, disregarded, I guess, disrespected, and you don't get respect by begging people for it, right? So, and I'm not going to ask these people to change that I'm connected to here. But I'm just in a situation here where I'm not enjoying my family. The kids are not little. I can't sit and read to them and hold them. There's none of those nice moments. Those moments are in the past. And what there is now is argument and dismissal, and everything's a pain. My youngest son, I love him. He talks a lot. He talks too much, really. But like if you ask him to do anything, hey, let's go do something, he doesn't want to do it, And so, and then everyone is like looking at me like it's my fault. My own daughter said to me the other day, she's like, it's your fault that your kids have no boundaries. And I was like, what does that even mean? How's it my fault that if you screw up, like, what's that have to do with me? And she's like, well, we could never talk to you on an emotional level. And I don't even know what that means, because there's so many times that I remember talking to my kids on an emotional level. I've always been vulnerable with my children. I've always told people what I was feeling and the things and mistakes I made. And I've always apologized for, when I did something I knew was wrong. But I'm just in a situation right now where I don't know what to do because I'm just so irritated with my family, I'm like, maybe this job, if I get this job to allow me to travel out of state, for a few days at a time, maybe that would be good. Because it just feels like it's not a good situation for anybody. So anyways, that's today, July 27th. I have a bunch of follow-up I need to do on job opportunities. I do have one lined up, and we'll see what happens with that. If something better presents itself, if I can get back into something in human services, something where I'm, those jobs don't pay great, but they are very fulfilling. You feel like you're doing something to improve the world when you do them. So we'll see what happens there. And I've got lots of ideas here for, to make money online. So we'll see where this comes to fruition. There's a lot of good things happening, but underlying it all is this situation with my family, and it's really stressful and frustrating.